Sie hören Sport und Musik.
It's John Brooks for the USA!
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Well,
Yeehaw!
good evening.
Good evening.
It's as if I just saw you.
As if I just saw you not 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Because we are relaunching the broadcast tonight. We did our Germany hour, and now we're doing our USA hour.
That's right.
We gotta, if you're on the comments, say hi. We're gonna talk U.S. soccer. We just finished talking German soccer for an hour. Now it's the U.S. soccer time, and it's off season, but we got stuff going on. The United States had two friendlies in the Los Angeles metropolitan area, and your Schnitzel boy Stefan attended both of them.
Amazing.
On the ground, getting the reports in. He was there for the atmosphere. He was there for the games. He was there. HBO Max was there. A bunch of journalists were there. Podcasts were there.
It seemed,
and the Schnitzel boys were there.
Just from my couch, it seemed like the atmosphere was quite different in the two different games. Would you confirm?
Oh, yes, and always. Between the Galaxy Stadium and the LAFC Stadium. It was different in a lot of ways. The USA-Serbia game was a lot of fun. It was at LAFC Stadium, a little more downtown, a little smaller, but a little bit more well-contained. And it was half a house at best. USA-Serbia. So Serbians were there. Kind of like is this still live? Probably not.
Yep.
Yeah, Hans Wolf.
Still live.
It's still live, my friend. You can talk to us. Hello, Hans Wolf. We're always live, baby. It's the Schnitzel boys. Oh, I guess so then. LOL. Welcome back, Hans Wolf. Good to see you again. But yeah, it was a fun game at half a house. And then Serbians were there, but it was mainly Americans, if you can, or U.S. fans.
Sure.
But then a few days later, down in Carson, in southern LA,
Colombians were out in force.
Around 4, it was a bunch of Colombians and like a sprinkling of Americans, but it was also a sold-out house. Good on the Colombian FA or whoever. I know U.S. Soccer got a lot of flack for not being able to sell the U.S. home game after the World Cup against Serbia. So they went on their Twitter and they announced, "Oh yeah, it is sold out, yo." But I think
there was a lot of
chat.
There's always a lot of chatter, on Twitter about the tickets being too expensive. But you paid $27, right? You're saying,
yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah,
that.
I bought tickets when they first announced. And on my Facebook, they would advertise to me. It's like 20% off clearance or something. And then, so I went on, and especially the USA Serbia game, no one bought tickets to that game, so they were $20. And the USA Colombia game also was around $20. What that means to me is, I think there was a very last minute. I'm curious how that happened. If they got a Colombian marketing firm or something, just the Colombians showed up. And those tickets, I think, were only sold in that last week because the tickets were around 24,000 on the Thursday, and it was sold out by that weekend. That's 3,000 tickets in 3 days. So they were on some sort of quote. But, I would love to go on a little rant here, which I've done before, about U.S. soccer being better with their ticketing allocation and blah, 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 blah. I feel U.S. soccer just books their games at places they think the away team will buy tickets to. And they're just happy taking that money. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, sell 80% Colombians. That's fine, just as long as they're paying.
Unless it's a World Cup qualifier, then they put it in the tundra
that no one wants to go to.
Where they not
put
even,
it in the deep freeze. It should be illegal to play. They do that. in response.
Matt Turner,
they just can't figure it out.
Matt Turner loses a toe. It's so cold.
I've said this before. Call me crazy.
I will call you Stefan.
Stefan crazy. U.S. soccer can, like, how do I say this? U.S. soccer, it doesn't matter where they play the game. Like you know, let's say they play Poland or Germany in Chicago. Let's say that's a very realistic possibility for the summertime, right? If I'm U.S. soccer, it doesn't matter where we play. It could be L.A. My challenge is to spend a couple weeks of pre-sales with very aggressive and economically affordable ticketing packages, and just spend even up to a month of pre-sale just selling 2/3 of the tickets to U.S. fans. Whatever it takes. Find them, market to them, advertise to them, give them buy one, get ones, sell 2/3 of the house to U.S. fans. Then when that's done, then open up the sales and then let the away team buy the remaining 40% or 30% on demand based tickets, which would charge whatever you want for those. That I don't care.
How could you possibly do that? You think these Colombians all came from Colombia? No, they live here, so they could buy tickets. So how are you gonna get somebody on the phone and be like, hey, are you a US fan or are you a Colombia fan? Tell me the truth now. Let me see your closet. What do you got? What do you got? You got any shirts? Flags?
No,
what?
Soccer,
let me see some paraphernalia.
This is part of the challenge. US soccer keeps because U.S. soccer is a dumpster fire. I mean, who knows who's even in charge of this stuff?
I mean, not
but
that
like,
I'm gonna.
Not but what I'm saying is
not
this.
That I will defend them.
What I'm saying is this: U.S. soccer needs to come up with some sort of free insider membership of every U.S. fan they can get their hands on via the fan groups, via whoever, anyone who's been to a game. They need to come up with an online database of free membership, verified, like a dating app. You have to send a photo. You have to be like, I'm a U.S. fan. And then every time a game is, they get the emails first. And they say, you want to go for $20 a head with you and your family? You know what I mean? That's how they do that. They have essentially a registration, like a U.S. fan registration that likes going to games, and they get access to cheap pre-sales before anybody gets their hands on in the open market. That's how I would do it.
This sounds slightly fascist to me. You're going to have
capitalism. My capitalism.
No, that's not capitalism. That's like the opposite of capitalism.
No, but let me explain. The reason is because as U.S. soccer, we've got two options, right? It's on TNT. Now, if someone switches to TNT and sees a stadium full of Colombians rooting for Colombia against the U.S., they'll be like, typical foreign soccer nonsense, goodbye. If someone flips onto TNT and sees a crowd full of Americans chanting USA and so rooting for the U.S., man, against Colombia, that's something that the middle America TV market might tune into. And what's more important, the gate receipts or the TV numbers when it comes to the bottom line, when it comes to making real money, what's more important?
Nobody gives a shit what the audience is made up when you're watching it on TV. I don't think that matters one way or another. Do you think?
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree. I don't know. Yeah, I think. Wasn't it? Did you watch it on TV? I watched it live. You watched it on TV?
I only watched the Serbia game, all of it. I saw most of the second half of the Colombia game and a bunch of highlights.
Well, the Colombia game, was it clear that it was a pro-Colombia crowd? Or what?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in general, it just seemed more crowded. That was one thing that you noted. Yeah, in the first game,
it was a full house.
The first game, the Serbia game, there were a lot of empty seats, and so they were not
on your side, by the way.
I mean, I just think
Hans isn't buying what I'm selling.
We have to, this country is what it is. In this regard, you got to just embrace anybody who wants to come. And then, I think a lot of these Colombian fans, they might be U.S. men's national team fans on a different day. These things are all fluid. And I think it's important for U.S. soccer to not be a dick about it. I think that's the number one. That's the number one priority. I think they often sort of outsmart themselves. I think, with these like playing games in the cold and stuff like that. I don't know. It's
also ticket price in general are ridiculous. I think they're like the price gouging needs to stop. But that's not necessarily U.S. soccer. That might also just be Ticketmaster. That's been an issue. Ticketmaster's been an issue for a while.
Well,
now.
Ticketmaster, if Taylor Swift can't beat Ticketmaster, no one can. So I think we are 100%. All just beholden. We're just all just beholden.
You know why?
To the dictatorship of Ticketmaster.
You know why, Bjorn? Because it's a big old party in the USA. You know what I mean? Is that one of her songs?
The business.
Or is that Miley Cyrus?
No, that's Miley Cyrus.
It's Miley Cyrus. Okay. Joke failed because I am old and I do not know things.
You clearly do not live with teenagers. You do.
You know what, Bjorn? You want to go do that joke? I'm just going to shake it off.
Oh, hey. All right.
That work?
Recovered.
That's correct, right?
Recovered.
What's Taylor Swift's biggest song? Shake It Off, and then what else?
I'm not going to try to be a specific expert here. I think it's the one. Well, anyway, it's the one about Jake Gyllenhaal or whatever. The one about Katy Perry, right? Is the biggest. Anyway, doesn't matter.
We have no idea. This is not the old German men to try to describe young female singing artists.
Taylor Swift's not that. Is in her 30s also. Anyway,
yeah, to me she is.
What do you have to say?
Colombia. We got 3 Germans here, Stefan, Bjorn, and Hans, talking U.S. soccer. That's what America's all about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Getting in there, doing their thing. My thoughts are the USA-Serbia game was a lot of fun. It was fun, A, because the environment. But B, call me crazy, U.S. soccer, they opened up under Anthony Hudson because Greg Berhalter is still, quote-unquote, a candidate. Sitting, probably waiting for his candidacy.
Berhalter, hashtag Berhalter probably out.
Anthony Hudson, head coach, former New Zealand national team head coach, which blows my mind.
Colorado Rapids legend. legend for saying what we feel. Anyway, he's the head coach, and they opened up. It was really just about, they only had like a few days to practice anyway, and it was getting out there running. And we saw Cade Cowell, and Cade Cowell was MVP. He was so good. And then we got to see Zendejas for a bit. He was a good Senora for a bit, and then it's like, I love seeing these guys. It was fun. We also played open soccer. And what I mean by that is we did play out of the back still a little bit. Not often, but a little bit. But then we also kicked it. We lobbed it. We crossed it. We countered. Essentially, it was whatever it was called for. They went for it. And I liked seeing that because with U.S. soccer, you just didn't see that under Greg. Under Greg, he was very protective of them playing out of the back and playing total football and working the ball up forward. He was very committed to that. And this team was like, screw that. Let's just go play soccer. And that was a breath of fresh air, to be honest. Then the USA-Colombia game happened, and quite the dud. It was a very boring 0-0 game the whole time. Other than seeing a couple Red Bulls players on the field and Tolkien and Reyes, I really didn't have much it wasn't much to it. It was kind of a boring slog of a game. It was fun to be there. Colombians showed out, but I love going out to games. Both stadiums here in LA have great atmospheres for different reasons. LAFC feels like a night out at the disco, like fun European night, and then the Galaxy Stadium feels like a day out at the ballpark. It's more. It has more of a college vibe, right?
Bench. Yeah, I think so. And the grass berm was open today. We saw the grass field there, which is one of the best parts of an MLS stadium. It's very underrated, that little park they have there. It was full. Bunch of families, their blankets. It's lovely. It's always nice to be up there when you get a chance. But anyway, yeah, that was pretty much my 2 cents. As far as what players' stocks went up or down for that 0-0 game, nah. Nothing.
Probably not. I had a different take on the Serbia game than you did. I thought they wanted to play out of the back, except Aiden Morrison Paxton Pomykal were not good, especially Aidan Morris at the I guess the Tyler Adams position. I thought had a very poor game, and that was, I think, did I text you? I think that was the softest midfield that I have seen for the U.S. men's national team. There was just no bite whatsoever. And Serbia, even though they also were fielding their B squad, they at least had the muscle to be aggressive. And I think that's why that's kind of seemed to what force them either to go wide or to go over the top. I thought that midfield was pretty poor. And I will say that, of course, as the eternal Keaton Park stan, I think if Paxton Pomykal and Aidan Morris get caps, I don't know why he hasn't. But anyway, that's my take.
Julian Gressel. I love talking Julian Gressel a little bit. Up top,
yeah, I think
great, a great cross. As far as being a right back, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's him. That's him in general, right? He is not. He seemed. It's also preseason, right? It was very early in the year. He clearly seemed a little slow getting up and down, but then he does what he does. Delivers a dime on Brandon Vasquez's head. Who else? I think Matt Doyle said that on Twitter. It's like if my life depended on somebody delivering a cross on a dime, I would pick Julian Gressel every time, and I think that's fair. He's a very good crosser of the ball.
He's a solid winger. Yeah, I'm all about him as the attacking third, but in the defensive third, it's like he didn't even know what the heck was going on. It was embarrassing. So play him right. Okay, the TM resale is horrible. Ticketmaster, they force you to sell in their predetermined range. You can't even be nice. Sell them for $15. Mein Lieber. I had the same issue. I bought tickets to a Galaxy game a few months ago, and I skipped it. I couldn't go, or so I didn't want to go. It was too hot. I think it was like a heat wave. So I was just gonna fire sell to someone for $10 or whatever, and then the app said nope. It's like the minimum is $25.
Protecting.
I was like, what? I just want to give this to someone.
It's my property. When I have to sell NYCFC tickets, I usually use StubHub, which also, I mean, not much better, but they let you pick whatever price at least. Although there's also a significant amount of fees. All these, it's a license to print money. I mean,
if I'm MLS.
Here we go.
In addition to U.S. Soccer, in addition to being the head of the U.S. Soccer fan Stalinist committee, where we have paid fans.
Prove your allegiance to the U.S. men's national team.
Team. Only one flag. I wouldn't be approved. I would also start my own little. I would just own my own ticketing software. Is that too difficult? Get a third party.
Apparently, I mean, I think it probably is.
Write up a little ticketing software and just manage it yourself.
I repeat myself. If Taylor Swift can't do it, then certainly U.S. Soccer cannot, or MLS.
That's crazy. Well, the FBI is investigating Ticketmaster. Let's hope their investigation is as fruitful as their investigation against FIFA was.
Well, I think there is. I mean, if we want to, those are the U.S. games. If we want to go down the political rabbit hole, I think that is a thing that happened, right? They merged with Live Nation or something, and there were some objections. There were some people said that this shouldn't go through, and that was overruled, and here we are. Anyway, Ticketmaster.
Well, the biggest criticism
it's death taxes and Ticketmaster.
Yeah, but I say screw that. It's still ongoing. FBI is not done. Ticketmaster's biggest sin is I think they buy out their own tickets ahead of time, and then they're the ones in charge of upselling them on the gray market, which should be illegal.
Yeah. That is crazy. No, it's like Ticketmaster's crazy.
It'd be like if I open the Schnitzel Boys shop, and then before people can come in, I buy up all the shirts first. And then I put them on a stand outside the Schnitzel Boys shop and sell them for twice the price. It's nonsense. Nonsense.
We would never.
Anyway, that's U.S. Soccer. Hans Wolf.
Anything like that happen?
No, not the schnitzel shop. Everything is only the regular market, the white market. Is that what's called? No black market, no gray market, just the white market. Schnitzel
Well, I
shop.
mean, we can't
Wolf,
control
fan?
resale.
Remind me, were you? I'm trying to think. Were you into Galaxy or LAFC? Maybe remind me if you want to chime in, Hunts. But anyway, we have also some deadline transfer news in MLS. Plenty.
Oh, here
to
we
talk
go.
about.
For once, the Red Bulls are active.
Very active. I was surprised at the work they did before these last two signings. I was like, they got Elias Manuel, they got Corey Burke. And I was like, okay, these are moves we haven't seen in a while. Then they went to Belgium and they paid like $5 or $6 million for some Belgian scorer who's on the team that's on number 2 in the league. He's like a hot scorer.
Mm-hmm.
There's even video of him walking up to the stands. Have you seen this? And arguing with the sport director to let him go to New York. There's video of it. He walks up to the stands. Sport director's there. It's like, hey, man, let me go. I want to go. He really wants to go to New York. So more power to him. Hopefully to go train and play hard at the Red Bulls. Hopefully not to hit the clubs. But so he's coming. And then I think to myself, wow, we have all this firepower. We still have a guy kind of stuck in our books, Mr. Patrick Klimla. That's like, no.
Shipped him off.
They sold him to Israel.
Amazing.
They shipped him off to Israel, where he'll probably crush. It's a good move. They probably aided on the. There's no money discussed. I imagine Israel didn't pay $4 million for him. I don't know. I don't think so. But they got rid of his book. Hopefully his salary's gone. He cost $1 million a year. He was our highest paid player. He did nothing for us. So off to Israel he goes, where he'll probably do very well in the Israeli league. I wish him the best. And then it's like, well, we have this firepower finally. The only thing we're light on is a center back, maybe one or two. We got rid of Aaron Long, but we were kind of light on center backs even with Aaron Long. And then today, there's rumors that we're signing some hot Colombian center back from the Colombian league, who plays. I don't 100% know what his situation is. According to a report in Belgium, $2 million for Klimla plus sell-on. I don't know, but there's some young Colombian whippersnapper dude looking good who might be joining us as well. And I'm like, okay, heck yeah, we're getting some players, we're getting some depth.
Red Bulls have
players,
Red Bulls have looked at NYCFC's all the departures, and they're like, this is our moment, this is our opportunity. We're gonna rule the tri-state area. We're gonna spend the money finally. We've got all that money saved.
I don't think NYCFC has anything to do. I just clearly it was a response to NYCFC. I think they got a new sporting director, they got a new scout. They made decisions to actually do work and do stuff. It's exciting for me, but they're still, compared to what the Galaxy or LAFC are up to, it's nothing.
No, I was kidding. I was kidding.
Way more.
I was joking about that, of course.
I know.
Yeah.
But we're doing a reverse in fortune here, because usually it's the other way around. However, while my New York Red Bulls has been signing people and linked with people from Belgium and Colombia and what is NYCFC up to other than losing all their players?
Well, Sean Johnson is now officially a Toronto FC player. Him actually, it turns out
after you've seen at a Toronto Raptors game.
I have the easiest time letting go of, surprisingly. Even though he was our captain.
Why
feel
is
like
that, do you think?
Well, I think that this is going to sound like, well, I guess it is. I feel like in the case of Collins, I understand he's 29 years old. He wants to get paid. He's got a big, he wants more money. We couldn't pay him as much as he wanted. That's fine. Santi Rodriguez is a young player. He's managing his career. He didn't think this was it for him. I think it's also a questionable decision, but I understand he's got something else. Sean Johnson, I think he miscalculated really his options. I think he decided that he was going to go. He thought he was going to have good offers. and I think his European options didn't materialize. And then he was kind of, I mean, I don't know. Of course, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know what NYCFC offered him in the end or what exactly. But Toronto will not pay him that much more than NYCFC would have offered. And this is clearly just sort of like he had his mind made up to go, and kind of misjudged the market, and I think rightfully so. I think Sean Johnson is a very solid American keeper, but he also, if he had embraced this club completely, he could have also just stayed here and made the same amount of money. But he clearly wanted to leave, so good for him. But I also am not gonna be too upset, because I think he's probably the most replaceable of the three.
Yeah. I mean, how do you... It's different from the Alexander Cullen situation because Sean Johnson was a free agent, right? Which is a relatively rare and new fun thing in MLS.
They were both free agents.
Riddle me this. Alex Collins... Other clubs couldn't pay him more money than NYCFC could pay him, right? Was that the same situation for Sean Johnson?
I believe so. Yeah,
did he fall into the
I
same
think it's
rules?
the same. I think that's the same. Yeah. I think it's the same. That's just
but that's not real free agency, if that's the case. If that's the case, that's not real free agency. I'm pretty sure Sean Johnson's a real free agent, isn't he? I'm pretty sure they could pay him whenever they want.
I'm not gonna hear confidently now. Nobody should be too confident in their knowledge of the deeper fine print of MLS salary rules. But I think they were both. I think they were the same. I think that is just. I think that's just a concession. I think that this rule is probably a concession that the players made when they first got free agency. Because that was a hard-fought thing. The league didn't even want anyone to be a free agent, and so anyway, I think it was the same for both of them. We'll find out, whenever the Players Association releases the salary data. We're gonna find out what he makes now. But I think he probably could have signed an extension a while back and chose not to, thinking that he was gonna.
He just wanted to go. He wanted to go to an exotic foreign land, and he went to Toronto, Canada.
Yeah, so hopefully...
Toronto, Canada, exotic foreign land. And Toronto's got a really exciting season ahead of them. Don't sleep on Toronto. Bob Bradley has been quietly working stuff up there. I think Toronto's going to come in with a bang this year. This could be egg on my face, but I think Toronto, especially with Sean Johnson, who's a great keeper. I think we have a decent, solid keeper. Like when we lost Luis Robles, I was like, why? Luis Robles, I'm just a big fan of keeping the players you got that are good and good for you. I remember the goalkeeper before Sean Johnson. What's his name? Josh something or other.
Josh Saunders. Yeah, I mean,
was very much Josh was not a starting goalkeeper. And they're like, whatever, he's on our books, he'll start for us. It's like he's not a starting quality goalkeeper. And he wasn't. So the first thing you guys did was buy Sean Johnson. And that was one of the strongest signings you guys probably ever did.
Right. But he also never.
But is as good as people say he is.
But that was also, people forget. He was going to Atlanta initially. He was thinking, because that's where he's from. He was going to Atlanta, and then Atlanta kind of last second got Brad Guzan, and then sort of shipped him off to us. So maybe he just doesn't like New York. Maybe he just didn't want to be here. So whatever. But I guess, it's easier for me to let go if he just makes that choice, not to go to an obviously better spot just to kind of go somewhere. Anyway, so we have an actual honest to goodness competition for the number one goalkeeper. I think Luis Barraza is he's been here. He's been Sean's backup. There's a huge range of opinion in the fan base. Some people say, "Oh, this is a great thing because he's got such potential and he's finally now gets to play." I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little concerned about him being the number one, but yeah, at least with Matty Ice coming from Philly, we're gonna have an actual competition, and that's exciting to see. A lot of this is exciting. The whole team is gonna change. It's gonna be fun. Answering your question about who else is coming, we already got a new right back, Ilenic, an 18-year-old. We'll see about him. We're going to get a left back apparently coming in from Mallorca, from La Liga. Brian Gouffre.
Wow.
Perhaps.
Well,
so he's gonna maybe be the left back that we've been missing. We've had like 3 left backs, which meant we have had no left backs really. So he might be the answer there. And then the latest rumor that ties into your experience watching these games, Alan Sonora is presumably somebody that might be coming our way as a midfielder, as an attacking midfielder.
That's very interesting.
What was your impression? What was your impression of Alan?
I thought in the first game he was pretty okay. In the second game he was kind of a ghost. But Alan's a little guy. The other thing I forgot to mention is we got to see a lot of Paxton Aronson.
He's taller. He's taller than Maxi Morales.
Yeah, maybe by an inch, but he's thinner and not. He's a thin. Alan Sonora is a thin little dude. He's going to get pushed. MLS is a physical league, and he's going to get pushed off the ball a lot, I think. But he's an exciting talent, and I think he's a good addition.
He's 5'7". That's
Paxton
4
Aronson,
inches. He's got 4 inches on Maxi Morales.
Yeah, and I've got 4 inches on him. How about that? Aren't you 6? Aren't you 7'1"? You have like a 1.5 on him or something.
Me, I'm 6'4". I would have 9 inches on him. Anyway, but I can't. I'm not very fast.
So you guys have players coming in, so that's good. So you got players coming. Who's your number 9? Is it going to be Talis Magno? Is that your number 9?
That seems to be the plan until it's not. We signed Gabe Siegel from Köln 2. He's an American player. He was, but I think that is that's an NYCFC 2 signing. I don't think he's gonna crack even the bench of the first team. I could be wrong. I think we still need somebody else, I think, for a backup in that position. But I think the plan seems to be Talis Magno is going to be the 9. And in these last 3 preseason games, the starting number 10 was none other than 14-year-old Maximo Carrizo.
Is he going to break the first team this year, do you think?
I don't know. He's 14 years old. He's going to be 15 in a couple weeks, so maybe he could. I mean, I don't think he's going to start. There's going to be somebody else, but he started these preseason games. We have not seen any. There has not been any video posted of any of these 3 games, so I can't have nothing to report about him. But I mean, that's wild, right? So we need somebody. In that position.
They're very protective of these preseason games. Alphonso Davies was 15 when he was crushing for Vancouver. So, maybe he's the next Alphonso Davies. We'll see. That'd be good. All right, back to Hans Wolf. Sorry, watching the latest episode of The Last of Us, a show that I have not seen, nor a video game I've played. I'm just not. I need to get into that, I guess. I'm just so out of the loop.
People say it's got a lot of
I'm
good,
an NYCFC fan.
News.
Hans Wolf apparently is a big NYCFC fan.
He's a man of taste, and sophistication.
He was a longtime DC United fan, and he converted to being an NYCFC fan because of Alexander Ring. Interesting. He had to buy an Alexander Ring jersey for his friend in Finland, and then he was just like, "Screw it! I was sick and tired of being the only DC United fan in Manhattan, so I joined the club." And then there you go.
I mean, Alex,
very sensible boy, NYCFC fan.
Alex Ring, really a transformative signing. Not just for bringing Hans into the fold, but just in general, really the player that this team so desperately needed at the time. Club legend.
But mainly bringing Hans into the fold. Mainly. Currently,
it's just another feather in Alex Ring's cap. bringing Hans into the fold. Yeah.
Crushing out Austin FC. Any other big? I'm trying to think. There's all sorts of transfer hooplas and whooplas. I think is someone texted me that Olivier Giroud is maybe headed to where's he at? Sporting Kansas City or something? Am I getting that wrong? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's something crazy. Every now and then there's something crazy like that.
I mean, he's in a contract negotiation, and so that happens very frequently. That then agents are like, "Oh, we have some interest in America." I mean,
yeah, but not Sporting KC.
That's not Sporting KC. Was almost signed Ronaldo. What are you talking about?
I love that. That's their biggest news of the offseason, how they almost signed a guy. That's like their biggest thing. I want to be in charge of a transfer department that just offers the contracts to ridiculously big players and then sends a press release being like, we were in talks with that guy, but unfortunately, last minute fell through as a way to appease my fan base. Unfortunately, you're still going to have to watch the same guys from last year.
The biggest transfer news of the day to me was the announcement that they announced the next list of Apple broadcasters, and none other than motherfucking Shep Messing. Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah, baby! Hell yeah. No Ian, no Joe, which is crazy because I like Joe and Ian a lot. I like both of those guys, especially Ian. Wouldn't you take Ian? Like, I mean, I don't know, but Shep is a studio analyst. He's not on the field. I think he's going to be in the studio, and it's going to be a lot of, oh boy, oh baby, the Philadelphia Union, they got a goal on the half.
I don't think there is a single person they could have announced that makes me lose faith more than this in the whole operation. I was like, who? This is a terrible decision. Steve Cangelosi.
I got you one better.
Is bad enough.
Amazing. Steve Cangelosi. Come on, get it right.
Whatever his name is. He should stick to hockey.
Yeah, it is a weird. Heath Pierce is a studio analyst. I'm like, I don't really love Heath. They have a weird mix. They have some good MLS talent, some pretty meh MLS talent. Dre Cordero, I don't like him as a play-by-play. He's, but Mark Followell is involved. Thank God, he's literally one of my favorites. The fact that JP's not involved, Joe and Ian not being involved, I'm sure they were asked, but some talent was lost. Maybe we should do a full analysis of the guy. But some good guys are involved. I saw Callum Williams involved. I like him. You said Mark Followell involved. I like Steve Cangelosi. Would have loved Joe and Ian to be involved. I don't know. Do you have any insider info on why they said no? Or
no, I noticed
Ian's over at CBS Sports, I think.
Yeah, and he has a new podcast going on. He's very into sports betting now. I think that's his thing. Has a sports betting podcast. He very graciously sort of tweeted today wishing everybody good luck. So I don't know if they asked him and he had other plans, or I don't know. I have no inside information. I cannot.
I'm just very curious if the cameras are going to show up in time. That's all I know. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a schnitzel hack, Hans. This is for you and for all the listeners listening to our podcast. So Best Buy right now is giving away 3 months free of Apple TV Plus. I didn't even know they did this. You go to bestbuy.com, you order it like an online order. It's $0 at checkout, and you get yourself a digital code that gives you 3 months free of Apple TV Plus. Now, Apple TV Plus is not the thing that MLS is going to be part of. It's some of it, but not all of it. MLS is a separate package in addition to the Apple TV Plus. However, if you're an Apple TV Plus subscriber, you get it for $20 cheaper. You get it for $80 for the year, not $100 for the year. So my plan in 2 days when it becomes available, the launch is in 2 days, I think. I'm going to sign up for the year for $80 as opposed to $100 because of the free sort of Best Buy gift card deal. So the little Schnitzel Boys hack.
Oh, interesting.
Apple TV Plus, 3 months for free at Best Buy. Remember to cancel when it's done, unless you want to keep subscribing to it.
Well, there was some
news.
there was some angst on NYCFC Twitter today because there's a NYCFC has decided to not mail out every year. We would get our membership boxes as season ticket holders, and this year NYCFC has decided not to mail them, and instead you get to pick them up. So they're saving on shipping. And this created some angst because we're all supposed to get free Apple TV as season ticket holders, and so the question was like, if we're only going to pick up this box at the first home game, what are we going to do in the meantime? But I think they're probably just going to email us a code or something like that. I would assume that this gets sorted out.
In the wake of the new stadium, this is maybe conspiracy theory time, but is this part of NYCFC tightening their belts financially in general? They're selling players, not big signings, and now they're saving on shipping costs.
Well, what I've heard with that is that they always had trouble. They would FedEx these boxes, and a lot of people wouldn't pick them up, and they would be returned. And so I think now they've decided to not do it that way. I don't know. In terms of the larger issue, I mean, that is a good question because they have a big stadium to pay for now, and that's a lot of money. So I don't know. We'll find out how these signings are going to be. I think we don't know this yet because I think we talked about this last week. I think they were genuinely surprised by Maxi leaving, Santi leaving. Those were genuine surprises. And so in that position, that's probably going to take a little bit to figure out, we'll see. But Hans is saying we may have met at the CONCACAF game. Yeah, I was definitely there. Stefan was too. My son was with us, so
I was there too. We were all there.
Hans and I met
were on TV.
I know we got a lot of coverage. Oh, that's fun! Great.
Yeah, because at the end of the game, all the players came.
Yeah, there were a lot of the ex players, the former players, showed up. Weiter Jungs, he was screaming.
You were the guy screaming.
That's amazing.
We went out for schnitzels after that. You should have come with. Next time you come out, we'll go out together.
We'll have a schnitzel. Schnitzels for everyone. Anyway,
yeah. The big transfer news in U.S. circles.
Oh, Weston McKennie. I was just going to say. No, I was going to. We were going to bring up Barrett Weston.
Well, no.
Well, that's
if you want to bring up Weston, go for it.
I mean, that's the other big U.S. men's national team news. He's going to Leeds, from Juventus to Leeds. Leeds really leaning into this whole American thing. I don't know. Time will tell if that's wise or not.
I'm very worried about that. I have memories of full America. There were 6 Americans on that team at one point, but that was a team fighting relegation. They couldn't score goals or win games. I think they escaped relegation slightly once or twice, and they got relegated. And I don't like the fact that Leeds is like, yeah, we'll do that too. Let's get a bunch of Americans here. And let's have all the Americans fight relegation year in and year out. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing. I would have liked to have seen Weston McKennie go somewhere else. I think he was linked to, was it Nottingham Forest really wanted him or someone really wanted him? I forgot who it was. I think there was rumors of him going to Arsenal, but I don't think he would have played much at Arsenal. I would have rather have gone somewhere else. But the other good thing is if more Americans go to Leeds and they do well and they know how to play well together, it only serves our national team. Right? It's got to. Like how all the German players play at Bayern and all the Spanish players play for Barca, You'd think that all the American players playing for Leeds would be our own mini version of that. So it could go in that direction, hopefully, knock on wood. Bing, bing, bing. Bjorn, do I have you? Did I lose you?
I'm here. But the delay is definitely back. I don't know. I don't think it's I think we still got the delay, unfortunately.
Well, dang. Got to figure that out. The only other transfer news I was going to talk about was Anthony Robinson is being linked to Manchester City.
Oh, I have not heard that. What?
In the wake of to replace Joao Cancelo. In the wake of Joao Cancelo leaving, Manchester City is calling Anthony Robinson to come on by and replace. Just rumors. But tomorrow could be pen to paper.
That is that's not a lot of time to figure that out. Interesting.
Well, that'll be fun. I honestly would rather him stay, because if he goes to Man City, he's probably just there for cover, right? He'd just be playing cup games and stuff like that.
I mean, there's that new kid, Rico Lewis, that Pep seems to like. I think he can probably play that position. There's Kyle Walker. I don't know. Do they need another? I guess on the left side, they may need some help. Well, we'll find out.
We will find out. But I guess the last topic is we do have some MLS action next week, or this week on Saturday.
Club World Cup.
Seattle Sounders are going to represent MLS Club World Cup. First MLS entrant into the Club World Cup. I'm very excited. They have a game against either Egyptian club Al Ali, I believe, or a club from New Zealand, the Auckland club. I don't 100% remember what they're called. They play the winner of that club. And I tell you,
Auckland City.
I don't know. I think that game's pretty 50-50. Auckland City. I think that game is pretty 50-50, right? Because, you're in Morocco. You're very far away. There's not going to be a lot of Seattle Sounders fans there cheering you on. And especially if you're playing Al Ali, it's an African club in an African nation.
Egypt, right? They're from Egypt. I don't know. They're from Egypt, right? Not Morocco.
Egypt playing in Morocco. That's true.
Oh, it's the tournament is in Morocco. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, we saw in the World Cup, the Middle Eastern teams were well supported, even though, wherever they were from. Morocco was very well supported in Qatar, which means, in the Club World Cup, maybe an Egyptian club will get well supported. All I know is that, on paper, it seems like Seattle has the stronger team. However, this is a very, very different environment for them, and environment that MLS clubs tend not to thrive in. So I'm very curious. Very curious how that game
and
goes.
if they win that game, I think I mean, it's also preseason for them. I think it's a crapshoot. I don't think we can count on them winning this game. But if they do, it's Real Madrid next.
An off-season MLS team playing an in-form Real Madrid in an official FIFA competition. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's going to be wild.
It'll be a lot of fun.
I definitely felt like, was it last year?
Jordan Morris to put his money where his mouth is.
Was it last year or the year before? I think where Tigres played Bayern. I think it was definitely wild to watch. I thought, because Tigres had eliminated NYCFC, so it was kind of. I mean, I think, obviously it's weird. It's like a small tournament. There's only a few games, but it is kind of an interesting kind of mind game to watch these different leagues play each other in a non-friendly situation. It's an actual trophy at stake. So I do find these games pretty fascinating. So I'm definitely going to tune in.
Yeah, me too. I love it. They're fun, right? A FIFA game featuring an MLS club. Imagine if MLS club plays Real Madrid. That's a lot of fun. I look forward to that. And heck, maybe an MLS club winning this dang thing one of these days. That might be fun.
That might be
fun. I'm definitely tuning in.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I mean, this tournament will expand, right, over the next few years. Like, this is part of the I think I mentioned last week, I've been watching the Super League documentary on Apple Plus, and one takeaway from that is that the FIFA Club World Cup definitely wants to expand. FIFA very aggressively is trying to make this a bigger deal, and so there may be more of this. By the way, also, I do have things. Tonight is not the night because we're 50 minutes in and we have these technical issues. But I do have things to say about the Super League and how it relates to MLS and so on and so on. But that will be perhaps next week or in a future episode. One more thing to ask, maybe. What do you think about this Wrexham situation? This was another kind of little bit of a Twitter shitstorm. Do you have any takes on that?
No, I haven't been following any of it at all since the beginning. I usually stay away. I love the fact that a bunch of Americans are tuning into a small random Welsh club. I love it. It shows that soccer isn't like soccer's popular in many different ways. This is another way that soccer is popular in the mainstream. I know there was allusions to the whole promotion relegation stuff. You know, I'm on that side. I think that is smart to be like, okay, the reason this little club is exciting isn't because of the quality of play, more just the stakes that are involved, as that's maybe the bigger story, right? Wrexham is doing great, right? Didn't they tie 3-3 and then they have a replay? And
they almost. I mean, it was the equalizer came in stoppage time. I didn't watch the game. I haven't been watching the show either. I watched the first episode. Was not really that interested. No, it seems like it was fun. The game was good. I guess I opted for Leverkusen Dortmund instead. Those were at the same time. But otherwise, I would have watched it. People say it was, I'm sure it's very exciting. The last they almost pulled it off. Sheffield, that's like four divisions above them. That's would have been a huge upset. And now they get a replay. They have to go on the road. So it's a cool story.
Ryan Reynolds is a business genius. I'm a member of Mint Mobile, great network, by the way. And like, you know, buying into MLS and the Prem is really expensive, but buying a tiny Welsh club and turning it into a TV show and making money off and making it interesting that people want to watch it on TV, and then selling the games for a profit. Like everything about this is like a business masterclass.
Yeah.
He's using his personality to. What are the rules against, like, what if this starts a trend where like an oil billionaire will buy a 5th division club instead of a top flight club and just spend a couple of years, kind of like RB Leipzig, what they did, pulling an RB Leipzig, like taking a little club and giving them money and letting them grow and turning that into a top flight club eventually.
I have more.
We'll have a 75,000 seater super stadium.
I'll have more thoughts about all of that in context of the Super League situation, but next time.
Yeah, I look forward to that. The one last topic I want to talk about is it's official. Copa America is here in the United States. We talked about that last time.
Very exciting.
CONCACAF and CONMEBOL have signed a strategic partnership where, in addition to the Copa America, there's also going to be an elite club competition between the CONCACAF and CONMEBOL teams. And I think that's really cool to see like whoever the winner is, like a Philly Union or LAFC, play against Flamengo in a competitive game. I think that'll be fun.
Great, yeah.
That'll be good I think that's fun.
No, all of that is great. All of that is great. Better competition.
The Suits are doing it right these days in CONCACAF.
Listen to you praising the soccer bureaucrats. That's a rare feat.
Yeah, here in the US, they're making that sweet moolah. Copa America here to prepare for the World Cup. Wrexham, man, it's like something's happening here, man. USA, it's happening, yo. Any last thoughts before we sign off and say goodbye?
I got nothing. That was good. We gotta figure out our technical issues.
We do. We will. Is it still delaying right now?
Yep. And you're in and out, unfortunately. But I think you're probably well recorded, so it'll be fine. Good night, Hans. Very nice to see you again. And next week we'll talk about the Club World Cup without delay.
We hope. Cheers.